From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, February 4th, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.82 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,150 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $376. Antiwar.com reports UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura on Wednesday declared a pause of the Geneva-based Syrian peace talks, saying both sides need to do more before there can be a serious effort, adding that he did not want talks just for the sake of talks. The pause in the talks caps a week-and-a-half process in which talks were initially scheduled for last Monday, invites sent out on Tuesday. The rebels declined the invitation on Wednesday, then showed up over the weekend, insisting they weren't officially at the talks, and both sides disputing assessments from earlier in the week that the talks had formally begun. Indeed, to this point, neither side was willing to concede that talks ever happened at all. The effort was long delayed over arguments among nations over who would be allowed to attend, with Turkey threatening to boycott the talks if any Kurds were allowed in. The Kurds showed up over the weekend too, but were told to leave. The U.S., for its part, insists the pause is wholly Russia's fault, a function of them continuing airstrikes in Syria during the talks, even though there was never a ceasefire agreed to beforehand, and the U.S. warplanes too continued airstrikes throughout the period. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports a record number of people were exonerated of crimes in the United States in 2015, many of them involving minorities and convictions considered difficult to acquit. The National Registry of Exonerations reports there were 149 known exonerations in 2015, breaking the previous record of 139 set in 2014. Most of the people exonerated last year served an average of 14 and a half years in prison. The exonerations occurred in 29 states, Washington, D.C., Guam, and in federal courts. The registry, started in 2012 at the University of Michigan Law School, said the rate of exonerations has increased rapidly for several years. Overall, in 2015, at least 58 defendants were exonerated from homicide cases. 5 people who were sentenced to death were exonerated last year. There were 47 exonerations for drug possession, including 42 who pled guilty in Texas's Harris County. In total, 54 people were exonerated in Texas, the most nationwide, followed by 17 exonerations in New York and 13 in Illinois. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports in early January, occupiers in a wildlife refuge in eastern Oregon mulled how the siege would end and what would become of them, including facing prison or death. What they did not anticipate was an apparent splinter group of occupiers ignoring their pleas and refusing to leave the remote Malheur National Wildlife Refuge. Now, frustration is mounting as the holdouts cloud the fate of 9 former occupiers in custody charged with conspiracy to impede federal officers. 2 others were released on conditions that they wear tracking devices as they await trial. A judge has cited the continued standoff as a major obstacle to the release of at least some of those who remain in custody. Andrew Colmetz, an attorney for arrested protester Jason Patrick, referred to the holdouts as, quote, for idiots, end quote, at odds with his client's aims. Eamon Bundy, the leader of the group from jail, asked through his attorney for the remaining occupiers to stand down, and Patrick was arrested soon after. But the holdouts have ignored that plea. At a court hearing on Wednesday for Bundy and the other defendants, prosecutors revealed that they had obtained a grand jury indictment against 16 people, including the defendants. None of the 4 who remain at Malheur National Wildlife Refuge were among the original group of occupiers. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.